Okay, so what's changed? So, I mean, this is really the shift. If you break down the purchasing cycle that in a multi-step kind of multi-touch sales cycle that a B2B buyer will go through, where they go through the stages of awareness, education, consideration, and decision. And that is very much around, look, we now have this where, and it's where the buyer has to go. He just can't buy on his own, okay? He has to go back to the management team or the business team and say, look, this is the problem that we have. It's causing this amount of pain or this amount of money every month. It's got to the stage now where it's important for us to solve. If we solved it that way, we could do this at the same time. If we solved it this way, we could do that at the same time. Looking in depth at the long list of products and services and suppliers that are out there. These are my long list of people that could help us, but really digging in detail to the products and the services and their offering and their credentials and their case studies and their references and the testimonials. These are my short three, my favorite three, and this is my favorite. This is the cost, this is the ROI, this is the business case. Do I have a mandate to proceed? Okay, to the business team, yes you do. So that's moving through the awareness, the education and the consideration before they move into decision and negotiation. But I mean, 5 years ago, you couldn't have got all the information on the Audi site to buy a Q7 versus a Renault Espace. You would have had to go to the Audi garage, okay? And likewise, so one of the companies that we work with is Cal, who are the world leaders in ATM software, and they sell to the world's top 1,000 banks. Now, the head of ATMs for Bank of America would never have found enough information on Cal in order to get to here on his own, okay? He would have made contact, and he would have said, look, I heard a presentation from Aravinda. It was really interesting. Can you send me some stuff? Okay, and top level product information and brochure stuff at the top. And he'd have been assigned to Steve, who's the head of sales in the US, and he would have gone into the CRM, and Steve would have tried to nurture him. Okay, so. And he'd have done that trusted advisor thing because Steve knows, he's a smart guy. He knows that this head of ATMs for Bank of America is going to move around. Okay, so he's just got to help him make the right purchase decision. He's going to try and sell him Cal, but he's going to ultimately try and help him make the right purchase decision for Bank of America. But the point is, he's in the CRM, and sales is doing the majority of this long sales cycle. And marketing's done its job because it's doing awareness and interest. Now you fast forward to now where B2B buyers can get 67, 80% of the way through the purchasing process without even being prepared to talk to a human or interact with sales. Gartner and Forrester are talking about that being 80%. 90% of business buyers will say that when they're ready to buy, they'll find you. Okay, so you're in a situation now where marketing is now responsible for all of this. And sales are being forced into these compressed cycle at the end. So the big issues are, and why this is important, is that marketing has got no real experience or no real capability of how to. It's always had to do this, okay, and it doesn't know how to do this. It doesn't have the experience or the resources or the technology, the tools, etc. So we've still got this huge kind of disconnect between marketing and sales, where marketing continues to send leads to sales which are not sales ready. At any one time, there is only 3 to 4% of your total addressable market that is ready to buy. Okay, and that's a B2B average. So we have this, and I used to do this where I would build big complex newsletters with lots of bank stories, and we send them to the sales team, and you hear that, and we'd look for the 300 people that had kind of clicked a link and opened it and visited our website, etc. But even though I sent 300 across, I knew that only 12 or 15 were really ready for a sales conversation. The problem is I just didn't know which ones, okay? And so I sent them to the sales guys. The sales guys call the first 10 in their area, get dinged, told to bugger off, ignored, and they conclude that marketing is rubbish at lead generation, okay? And I go back and I say to Stephen, I'm like, hey, they're in there, okay? The 12 of them are in there. You just haven't looked hard enough. And I conclude that sales is lazy. And so the disconnect, right? So the disconnect goes on. So we're in the situation with this because buyers, and it's getting worse because buyers are just disappearing. They're just self-educating online. So, but this is serious decisions. The last 5 years, the average B2B sales cycle has become 25% longer, with more than 3 more decision makers participating in the buying process. So it's getting worse. So big issues for marketing in terms of what is it that we do to lead this process, okay, and big issues for sales because they're being forced into compressed sales cycles. Buyers will engage late. They're often way more informed and way more educated, often slightly misinformed. And they're looking at this point, if you walk into a Audi showroom or as a negotiating buyer, you're looking for somebody to add value straight away to your thought processes and to your thinking so far. And if the sales have not had visibility of how the buyer has got there and the problems that they have and the nuances of their business, very difficult to pitch value very, very quickly. And some other stats from the US are, 67% of B2B buyers in the US will say that when they first engage with sales is not informed enough, and 70% will not get a return call or appointment. So you have all of this stuff being lost. Big issues for marketing, because a lot of pressure for marketing to try and deliver these pipeline acceleration programs and deliver high quality leads to the sales team. But lots of people will try and tell you that you can use marketing to accelerate, pipeline progression. You can. Buyers buy when they buy, okay, when they've got BANT. So the best that you can do is to make sure that when they move into this phase here is that you are in the top 3, okay, preferably the preferred supplier, okay, and you can do that by making sure that you have led the conversation, okay, and the way that you lead the conversation is that if the buyer is going to self-educate, then you make sure you give them the tools to educate, and that is about making sure that you give the buyer the information that they need to be better at their jobs and ultimately make the right purchase decision. Now that sounds dead easy, but if you think of all the things that you need to know, so marketing's now doing the trusted advisor bit, it starts to get quite complicated. So Carrie's really going to talk about that. So we'll just have a look at, what is it that you, so CEOs are looking for profitable growth. They want reliable pipelines. They want sales and marketing to deliver ROI. The sales team need to deliver the growth plans for the business. So they want predictable pipelines. They want to improve the sales performance, but they've got longer and leakier pipelines. And they want high quality lead generation for shorter sales cycles from marketing. But they're being forced into this compressed sales cycle at the end with buyers that are more informed. They need more ROI and they're less likely to engage. Marketing teams need to deliver higher quality, better qualified lead generation. They need to try and deliver pipeline acceleration programs, but that isn't going to happen, so they've got to try and lead this process, and they need to demonstrate effectiveness in ROI, but they have a very top of the funnel mindset. They're focused on pipeline creation and awareness, and they don't have any of this middle of the funnel tools or experience. So we're on a simple model. I'm going to just do a schematic for you, which is where you build a high quality database of your total addressable market and you engage it with self-educating quantities at each of the stages, and you use technology platforms like marketing automation to identify win-ready prospects to go to sales. So just to put this all in context, so traditional marketing, route 1, so this is our total addressable market. Okay, let's just say that is the world's top 1,000 banks, and we're selling them ATM software. So there's 50 people in each bank on average on the buying team, either decision makers or influencers. So that gives us a total addressable market globally of 50,000 people. Route 1, traditional marketing, is when the industry is congregating. Just make sure that you're prominent, okay? Make sure that you have glossy trade stands and you do a thought leadership presentation with a customer at the industry events, etc. You do that in PR. You might take some advertising when the industry's talking about you in trade press. You do some direct marketing. You might do some telemarketing, some telesales. Route 2 is inbound marketing, which is if the industry is searching for solutions or services to its problem, to the problems that they have, or they're validating the supply base, then you are prominent and visible. So search engine optimization, search engine marketing, social media, content marketing. But you can be great at all of this, and you can be great at CRM. Now, if the buyer is not going to engage or talk to you, you can't qualify with them. You're not going to be able to have any qualify them until they talk to you here. So in essence, you'd be brilliant at all of this, but you're still flying totally blind. You've got no idea who is in the middle here, okay? And that's what results in this, what we call spray and pray, or chucking spaghetti at a wall. It puts huge pressure on the size of the wall, and it puts huge pressure on the quality of the spaghetti. So, because in between you've got the marketing funnel, which is awareness, education, consideration. And you've got the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. And really what the purpose of marketing is to get people to here, okay? To get high quality lead generation. These are prospects that are ready for a sales conversation, they're win ready, or as Brian Williamson from Jumpstart's describing, they are eggs that are about to hatch. Okay, so we have what we call a route 3, which is through the funnel marketing, which is where we can take people from here to here. Okay, and it's not that route 1, route 2, or route 3 is better. It's that you need a blend of the three. Okay, and you've got to work out for your markets and your companies what's the most effective route to engage them. So route 3, which is through the funnel marketing, is you build a high quality database against the total addressable market. You engage it with content at each of the for top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. So up here is all thought leadership and disruptive trends and the type of content that addresses alternative ways for the buyers to solve their problem, etc. Middle of the funnel is much more around kind of how-to, best practice, and then bottom of the funnel is really about conversion and the type of content in here that they read to when they're really kind of getting into deeper into the decision-making process between alternative suppliers. So pricing comparisons, etc., and product demos, etc. And then you've got the alignment between sales and marketing. So today. So that's content there. Lead nurturing is the way that you put all this together in terms of automated lead nurturing programs for top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. And then lead scoring is the methodologies that you use to differentiate and surface these people here. And then lead management is the metrics that you use to manage this entire, what they call the demand funnel, and how prospects are progressing through the stages and where the things are that you're good at and not good at. So in terms of today, Dave from Captora is going to talk about top of the funnel and how we get people into top of the funnel. And Captora is a platform that absolutely revolutionizes inbound marketing, okay, and turns it on its head. Carrie's really going to focus on once we've got people into the funnel, we know who they are, and we've connected with them directly, or they've come and filled out a form. How do we nurture them to through the funnel to win-ready prospects? And then Mark and Neil are going to talk about, okay, so how do you then align sales and marketing in order to convert that into sales? Okay, and just one last slide in terms of why this is so important. Okay, now let's say that you had all that infrastructure in place, okay, and you could work out for every 1,000 inquiries how many progressed into marketing qualified leads, how many progressed into sales accepted leads, how many progressed into sales qualified leads, and how many then closed and won. So you can't do that, you can't measure each of the stages unless you have a marketing automation platform on top of the CRM system, okay? But because you can't work out who's here and who's here. But even if you have that infrastructure in place, being good at each individual step will take off the same number of active prospects, you can grow your business by 7 times. Okay, you can take it from 2.89 to 14.2 deals. Now those are just B2B serious decisions who produce this research. Carrie knows them really, really well. They're US based and they are the sort of thought leaders in this space. So, but even so, everything else being equal, if you're just good at each of these stages through the funnel, you can grow the business by times 7. So these are just some of the companies that we work with. So Cow, the world leaders in ATM software. So I mean, they Queen's Award for Export, doubled the business in the last 3 years. Jumpstart, Scotland's fastest growing company, won the Sprint 100 last year, etc., etc., etc. So